Global Terrorism Index 2026 is out, and in this session we will see which country is the most impacted by terrorism in the world. We'll also look at India's ranking to understand what is the position of terror impact in India. Hello students, welcome to Drishti IAS. My name is Saloni Nandkyolier. Let's get started. So the Global Terrorism Index is released by the Institute for Economics and Peace. Now what happens? This index basically tells us the rank of all these countries, which means which country is the most impacted by terrorism and which country is the least impacted by terrorism. So this index ranks 163 countries. 163 countries, and a score is allotted to each country on a scale of 0 to 10. Higher the score, greater the impact. So this tells us which region or which country is the most impacted by terrorism and which is the least impacted by terrorism. Now certain parameters are taken into consideration. How is this measured? So we look at the number of terror attacks in the countries. We see how many deaths have been caused by those terror attacks, how many injuries have been caused, what kind of a damage in general has been caused by that terror attack. And based on that, a score is given and then a ranking is given. Now if we look at 2026 ranking, so Pakistan has emerged as the country in the world that's the most impacted by terrorism. Pakistan's rank is number 1. And in order to achieve this rank, it has overtaken Burkina Faso and now become the most impacted country by terrorism. So we'll look at the global trend of terrorism, global deaths in terrorism, everything of that sort that has been released by the index. But right now we need to understand that Pakistan has emerged as the country that's the most impacted by terrorism. And if we look at the trend in the West, then certain kinds of attacks are increasing, like youth radicalization and lone wolf attacks are increasing. So this kind of an attack is increasing in Western nations like in the US and in the European nations. So we'll also see why these kind of attacks are increasing. We'll also look at India's position. But before we do that, we'll first look at Pakistan's position. What is the situation in Pakistan? So Pakistan has received a score of 8.57 on 10. And I told you, higher the score, greater the impact of terrorism in the country. And that's why Pakistan is at number 1. Now, if we talk about the number of attacks, the number of terror attacks, there were 1,045 incidents in 2025. And in these incidents, there was a death of 1,139 in the country. Now, because of all these things, Pakistan has achieved this ranking. And if we talk of certain terrorist groups that have caused this chaos in Pakistan, then it is TTP, Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, or the Pakistani Taliban, and BLA, Balochistan Liberation Army. These are some major terrorist groups in Pakistan that have caused this havoc. And because of these terrorist organizations, because of these terror attacks, Pakistan is at number 1. Now let's look at India's position. So India's ranking is 13th. We are at number 13. The score that India has received is 6.43, which means we are moderately impacted by terrorism. If we talk of the attacks, then some 140 plus attacks happened in 2025 and 100 plus deaths happened in 2025. Because of this, we have received a ranking of 13 in our country. Now, if we talk of some other countries, some other important countries on this index, so we know right now there's a war that's ongoing between US, Israel and Iran. So let's look at all these rankings also. Israel, Iran and US. Now, Israel has received a ranking of 10th. It is among the top 10 nations in the world that are the most impacted by terrorism. Israel is at number 10, Iran is at number 18, and US is at number 28. Pakistan at number 1, India at number 13. Now there's also a tension between Pakistan and Afghanistan. Afghanistan is at 11. Then we have Israel at 10, Iran at 18 and US at 28. So the situation across the major economies of the major countries in the world is not great when it comes to terror attacks. But if we talk of the global trend over here, global trend of terrorism, then the terrorism deaths have fallen by 28%, which means that the global terror incidents, the global terror attacks, the global terror deaths, they have fallen by 28%. But what is happening? There is a rise in certain regions, rise in terrorism in certain regions. These regions are emerging as hotspots. Like you have Pakistan, Afghanistan, then there's Middle East, there's also the Sahel region. These regions are emerging as hotspots. Overall, globally, there is a decline in the global terror attacks. There's a decline in the global terror deaths. But if we talk of some concentrated regions, there's an increase in certain regions, in certain countries. Like in some countries, it got worse. In Pakistan, it got worse. Now we look at the worst affected regions. So I told you Africa, the Sahel region in particular is one of the worst affected regions. Like you have Burkina Faso, Niger, Nigeria, Mali, Somalia. We have weak governance over here. There is a lot of poverty in the region. Because of that, there's a lot of military coup that we see happening in these regions, and the terrorism keeps on increasing. So Sahel region is very badly impacted. The Middle East war that we are seeing at the moment, that is a region that's very badly impacted. And when we talk about Western nations, then we see youth radicalization and lone wolf attacks increasing. Lone wolf attack meaning these are single member attacks. They are a single person attack. These people do not belong to any terrorist group, any armed organization. There's a single member attack that happens. One person just feels like doing this attack because they are driven by very extremist ideologies. Right now, everybody has a lot of influence. A lot of influence is there of social media on the youth. There's a lot of extremist content that is floating around, and when the youth gets radicalized, then these lone wolf attacks keep on increasing. So the Western nations in particular, the US, the European nations in particular, instead of being impacted a lot by terrorist organizations, they are mostly impacted by these radical youth and lone wolf attackers. And these kinds of incidents are increasing in all those countries. So globally, if we see, there's a decline in the trend, which is a good thing, but there are regional hotspots that are coming up, which is not such a great thing. So that was all for this discussion. Now we'll look at a practice question for prelims. And before we do that, there is this sale that's ongoing for you, which is the Selection Mahotsav sale. The sale is now live and will remain so till 26th of March. Here you're going to get up to 50% off on all our online courses, pen drive courses and test series, and 25% off on books, TLP and magazine. So don't wait. For any more information, please call us at 87501 and you can also download the Drishti Learning app. Now let's look at our practice question. With reference to the Global Terrorism Index 2026, consider the following statements. 1. Pakistan recorded the highest impact of terrorism due to a sharp rise in both attacks and fatalities. 2. India is among the top 10 most terrorism-affected countries. 3. Globally, terrorism-related deaths increased significantly in 2025 compared to the previous year. Choose the correct statements. A. 1 and 2 only, B. 2 and 3 only, C. 1 and 3 only, or D. 1 only. Please attempt this question and provide your answers in the comment section. Thank you for watching.
For more informative content, like, share and subscribe. And do not forget to press the bell icon to get the notifications.